So you want to start a business, huh? You want to be on top? Let's talk about the beginning stages of a business, pre-launch, and how to take your idea into post-launch. I'll share my story of how I made the plunge and started my own business, including a very cringe video application I did, as well as some general tips for launching your own business. Liz here. Liz here. I started and ran a business for about 5 years, and I had thousands of customers, orders, meltdowns, and celebrations later. I decided to sell said business. Now I'd like to share with you what I've learned, while I also maybe work on my next business. I want to bring some realistic expectations and humor and honesty into the entrepreneurial and small business owner communities. So I made a lot of mistakes, including burning myself out pretty bad running a business. So I want to avoid that next time, and I want to help you avoid that. I am anti-grind set here. So first, let's jump into my story and how I founded my business. I started a craft supply subscription box back in 2018, and a bunch of factors went into finally opening the business and, taking those first orders and taking the plunge. So first, it was my dream, my aspiration, and my kind of like childhood adolescent goal to own my own business one day. One of my inspirations when I was like a young teenager was Lorelai from Gilmore Girls and her Dragonfly Inn, how she owned the Dragonfly Inn. And I wanted to be a girl boss like her way before that was a thing and before it was too much of a thing. Yeah. So another thing is my business took a lot of my passions. So I really love crafting, and I back then was consuming a ton of crafting and DIY videos, just a ton, and I knew what was trending. I knew where the gaps were that I could fill with my business. I also loved subscription boxes at the time. I had subscribed to a number of them, and I loved watching subscription box unboxing videos too. So it was like my passion. Also my knowledge and my work experience. I had worked a few different jobs already, and one project I did for a company I worked for was to actually evaluate and research the subscription box market and see if it made sense for that company to start our own subscription box. So it's really interesting how that project played a part in me opening up my own one day. It's interesting to look back at all the little dominoes that go into different decisions and the way that your life works out. Another thing was my life situation after a pretty bad breakup, and I wanted to start a new chapter in my life and wanted to do something new. And the key driving force though was this accelerator program that I got into. So the accelerator program was run by this subscription box marketplace. So think like an Amazon, but for subscription boxes, called Cratejoy. And they put on a little accelerator program for people to help them launch their subscription box. They would help you with your business plan. There was like a course like platform. There was like I think it was called Basecamp platform, where there were like courses you could watch and different like homework every week that you could do to help launch your subscription box. And you would launch your subscription box on their platform. So when I saw Cratejoy had that accelerator program, I applied and I got in. And part of the application was you had to film your idea and answer some questions as part of it. So here's mine. Please be kind.
Hi Cratejoy, my name is Elizabeth. My idea for subscription box is a craft-based project box featuring primarily art supplies and craft supplies from Japan. I want to feature mostly cute craft styles of crafting. And so this will be decadent, resin crafting, polymer clay, making miniatures, etc. And so my inspiration for this is because I've noticed that it's really hard to get your hands on these types of supplies in the US. Japan is really at the forefront of this type of crafting. And so I want to provide my members and my subscribers with a curated selection of items that they can use to make these cute crafts. And I want them to be able to make an end project where it's like an easy process. They can make it, they can be proud of it, they can show their friends and say, I made this. And it really takes both the guesswork and the confusion out of making this style of craft, because oftentimes these craft supplies, their instructions or online videos will mostly be in Japanese. And so I want to provide English explanations for each supply, as well as a full tutorial for each project for each month. And so as an aspiring entrepreneur, this Create Joy program would be really beneficial to me. I primarily want to learn about all aspects of starting a new business, but in particular, I want to learn about how to market a subscription box, as well as network with the subscription box community, from mentors who already have their own box to my fellow accelerator members to Create Joy staff. So I hope you consider me for this program. Thank you.
So see, you don't need to know everything when you launch a business. That chick certainly didn't know everything, and starting a business wasn't easy either. I remember walking around my hallway and my boyfriend's hallway just being like, what the hell am I doing? Who am I? And where do I fucking get off? Where do I get off thinking I can fucking run a business? But I also remember thinking, oh, I'm excited. Yeah, if you think about it, I went on pretty much a whole ass hero journey, but at least the first part of the hero's journey, where I needed a guide and some things like the Create Joy Accelerator program is a guide or a mentor for me, and I had maybe just that first little arc of the hero's journey, and then the rest of the business, running the business, was the rest of the hero journey. So the key was the Accelerate program for me, and one of the rules for the program was you had to launch by a certain date. So I worked out the billing and shipping dates that I wanted for my subscription box. So I billed customers on the 11th of every month, and I targeted to ship out on the 4th of the following month. And so based on the Accelerate program's deadline to launch, I worked out which day that would be to where I would ship my first box, and then I opened business about a month prior to start accepting orders for it and stuff, and then I got on the subscription box cycle from there. Yeah, that's my story on how I started my business. So here's some general advice if you're wanting to start a business, which I think you are if you're watching this video, right? I don't know. Or maybe you're looking to start your second, third, fourth business and looking to do it in an intentional way, and you're wondering, how can I get that initial inertia? How do I get myself to start on the journey? Because I know it's a really hard part of the process. It's just actually getting started. You could have a business idea for years, for decades. Maybe you've had it for not that long, but it's quite common to have an idea for forever, and you're like, oh, I want to just start it. I need to just start it. And that first little push is very hard because it involves a massive amount of vulnerability. Also, it involves a lot of change in your life, whether or not you're already working full time or not. It involves a lot of change in your life to run a business. And so it is very nerve-wracking, but here's some general advice. First, speak to people who have launched businesses already and hear their stories. Ways you can find people who have started their own businesses, looking at subreddits for entrepreneurship or business, running your own business. If there's more of a niche that you want to go into, looking at that business niche. You can find local meetup.com groups for entrepreneurs or business owners, attend events that they have, maybe even find online events if there's not any local to you, and then rely on your network, mutual connections, friends of friends. Ask around, post on to your network, your social media or something, I'm looking to start a business. If you have anyone who's in the local community who's running a business, or it doesn't have to be local, but depends on if you want to start a local business, then I would suggest someone who's already started a business in the local community. But anyway, yeah, just ask, if you know anyone who's started their own business, like I'd love to chat, buy them coffee, things like that. People love to talk about their story. Like I just talked about my launch story. People love to talk about their like their hero origin business starting story. So just offer to buy them coffee. So I went to a number of meetups for business owners and e-commerce owners in particular. And one thing I didn't like was when someone who wanted to start a business and wanted to get advice, and they would be very like, I don't know, like they'd be just like, I want to connect with you, like will you teach me? Someone at one point was like, will you teach me how to run my own business? And I'm like it was a lot of pressure and like also very vague. Like, so my suggestion is, if you are connected with someone who's running a business, be very like specific, ask them specific things, and also give back to them as well. Maybe you can help them with something that they're working on, or be a sounding board for them. My second advice is to pick a deadline. And this can be external. Maybe there's an accelerator program like I did that you have to apply for. Maybe there's a deadline to apply. Maybe there's a particular season you want to capitalize on, like you want to sell by next holiday, sell things, or have your business operational by next holiday cycle or something. Pick something like that and commit to having it ready in time, or sign up for a market. If you're selling physical goods, sign up for a particular like local market or vendor opportunity, and then that way you have to be ready by then. You don't have to, but you could back out. But I find that when you commit to these things, you're much more likely to actually go through with it. Another thing that you can use as like a deadline is you could find local like pitch events or pitch-a-thons for businesses, or if there's like a conference or something that you can sign up to pitch your business, sign up for that, and then you'll have to at least have your idea and your ideation ready by then. So I find that sometimes you have to just commit to a day and roll with it. My third thing is to put some skin in the game. I fucking hate that phrase. But yeah, put some skin in the game, aka put down some money. So I find that if you invest just a little bit of money, it doesn't have to be a lot, it'll help get things rolling. Because if you think about it, if you've ever been to like meetup events or other social events, like if you put down just even $5 for the event, you're much more likely to go than if you put down like, if you don't even RSVP or you put down $0 for it. So just putting down a little bit of money can help you commit to it. So this can be something like registering your business. So maybe, first of all, it's expensive to register a business. At least in Texas, it's like multiple hundreds of dollars just to register a business, plus like other things. Business structuring is a whole other thing, and I'm not a lawyer, so it's very different state by state. But registering your business and getting that ball rolling can be a good way to put some money down and legitimize your idea. And then my last advice, I think we're on 4, is to realize that it is a process, and sometimes a bunch of things have to line up in order for you to actually launch your business. Like my story, sometimes a bunch of things have to line up and work together collectively to get you to start your business. Sometimes you just need more time or more external forces working on you to get that first push to start a business. And after you've already launched your business, you'll look back on your pre-launch and it'll just be part of a larger picture. Also, I bootstrapped my business, which means that I had no outside financing, no fundraising of that sort was involved, no investors. I paid for the whole thing myself. If you are applying for funding and you're not bootstrapping, your launch is going to look different because now you have other parties involved that will determine when you can launch. But I think most people, actually I don't know the statistics, but I think most people when they launch a business, it's bootstrapped. So yeah, that's all I have for you. Well, I mean, not for all eternity. I probably have more thoughts about this topic, maybe that I'll cover at some point, but that's the video for now. If you found it helpful, please subscribe. Brand new channel. Please subscribe if you found it helpful. And if you have anything you want, if you have any topics you'd like me to cover in regards to running a small business, then leave it as a comment and I'll add it to my list. So yeah, check ya in the next video. Bye. Alright, that's enough business talk. I gotta go to the gym and do some curls for the girls. That looks pretty good, but my real muscles are like, my impressive muscles are like here, so.